Our top story this Wednesday, a year-long study just released this morning from the Northern Plains Resource Council shows cleaning up contaminated ponds at the Colstrip Power Complex in eastern Montana has the potential to create hundreds of high-paying jobs for decades to come. MTM's Jay Cohn has more.
As Montana lawmakers debate the future of the Colstrip power plants and what role the state should play in that future, a new study indicates cleaning up the huge coal ash ponds behind the plants could provide the necessary jobs and economic vitality needed for Colstrip's long-term survival. That study, entitled Doing It Right 2, outlines how storing coal ash in a dry location high above the aquifer is the best outcome for both the community and the environment.
We are very excited about this study because it does show that coal ash cleanup is a huge job creator, and it is also a way to permanently remediate groundwater pollution for the use of agriculture and the greater Colstrip community.
Becky Mitchell chairs the Northern Plains Resource Council, a grassroots conservation and family agriculture group. The new study, she says, offers Colstrip a bridge to the future, tapping into its skilled workforce to clean up the contamination that has ruined the town's groundwater.
The ponds are leaking. The coal ash is highly toxic, and they're in contact with the groundwater. The groundwater seeps up into the ponds, mixes with the coal ash, and then seeps back out into the groundwater. And so the groundwater is a continuous source of pollution.
Cleaning up the coal ash is a huge task. The ponds cover more than 800 surface acres. The contaminated water is hazardous to humans, wildlife, and livestock due to its dangerously high levels of selenium, manganese, cobalt, molybdenum, and radium. Talon Energy, the owner-operator of the Colstrip plants, has submitted a cap-in-place plan for the ponds, but Northern Plains says that won't stop the pollution.
As long as that pond is in contact with groundwater, it's not going to stop the pollution.
As you'd expect, the price tag for such a cleanup is huge. Total cost of high and dry estimated at $925 million over the next 40 years. By comparison, Talon's cap-in-place proposal, $409 million through the same time frame. And as for jobs, the extensive cleanup offers direct jobs on an equally massive scale. Talon's proposal would amount to 91.6 yearly jobs between now and 2029. The high and dry plan, 218.2 jobs during that same time. Northern Plains points out the high and dry plan is a permanent fix to Colstrip's groundwater pollution, while Talon's proposed cap-in-place plan would allow for the pollution to reemerge down the road. And as for who pays, that is the responsibility of the plant's owners. In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
It is important to note that the current bill in the legislature, Senate Bill 331, that would allow Northwestern Energy to purchase additional megawatts of Colstrip Unit 4, prohibits any shifting of the liability for the environmental cleanup of Colstrip to Northwestern Energy customers. Montana Congressman Greg Gianforte took aim at Washington's governor during a hearing on climate change on Tuesday. Governor Jay Inslee wants to ban all coal-fired electricity and has blocked efforts to build a coal export terminal out of Washington. Gianforte says Inslee's efforts would be devastating to Colstrip because Washington residents are customers of Colstrip's coal. He also pointed to a study done by the University of Montana that showed Montana would lose $5 billion in revenue and 3,300 jobs if Colstrip Units 3 and 4 are retired early.
You know, today in your state house, you're considering a bill that would eliminate all coal-fired electricity. Much of this electricity is generated in Montana, and particularly in the town of Colstrip. It's a small town, 2,300 people. Their livelihoods are threatened.
Inslee announced last month that he is joining the growing field of Democratic candidates running for president. Gianforte extended him an open invitation to visit Colstrip. Also out of Washington, the state is now considering new safety regulations for oil tanker rail cars hauling Bakken crude from North Dakota. If the legislation passes, it would have a major impact on the 200,000 barrels of oil shipped daily through Montana and onto Washington refineries. The issue is vapor pressure. Under the Washington bill, vapor pressure would need to be reduced by some 30%. North Dakota's top oil regulator says the processing to get there would not make economic sense. Refineries in Washington are the top destination for Bakken crude by rail, receiving more than 60% of all shipments. North Dakota would likely sue the state of Washington if the bill passes. 2.5 weeks after a Montana Highway Patrol trooper was ambushed and shot 3 times in western Montana, there's finally some good news. Trooper Wade Palmer has regained consciousness. Montana Department of Justice spokesman John Barnes said Palmer's medical status has improved and he's been moved from the University of Utah Hospital's Neurological Critical Care Unit to the Neuroacute Care Unit. All of Palmer's interactions have been nonverbal, but he has shown recognition of certain people and commands. He is scheduled for reconstructive surgery for jaw injuries tomorrow. A retired Great Falls Catholic priest will plead guilty to viewing thousands of pictures of child pornography. Lothar Krauth will appear in court next week, Monday. Federal agents received a tip about the child porn in October of last year. Agents searched his home and found thousands of images of child pornography. Krauth was assigned to Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church until 2014. Democrat Kathleen Williams will kick off her 2020 campaign this Friday in Billings, but she's not saying which office. The former Bozeman legislator sent an email to supporters on Tuesday announcing a Kathleen for Montana 2020 kickoff rally at 4:30 Friday afternoon on the Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn. She has 3 options: the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, or the open governor's seat. Williams lost her congressional bid in 2018 to Republican Representative Greg Gianforte, who is believed to be considering a run for governor. Incumbent Democratic Governor Steve Bullock is term limited, and additionally, U.S. Senator Steve Daines, a Republican, is up for re-election for the first time in 2020. And the first Democrat to officially announce a run for Montana's lone seat in Congress in 2020 comes out of Missoula. 32-year-old Tom Winter says he's running. Winter, who just won his legislative seat last fall, says he wants to make health care a top issue.
Believe deeply that healthcare is really points to the deep inequities that we see between Montana and the rest of the country, and within Montana as well. And everyone needs access to good quality healthcare and good quality health insurance, and we're not seeing that.
Republican Senator Al Olszewski of Kalispell says he will make a major 2020 announcement today at noon in front of the Capitol steps in Helena. Back here in Billings, Fire Chief Bill Rash is asking the City Council for help so the department can keep up with the city's growth. Based on an evaluation done by a consulting company, Chief Rash told the council Monday night the city needs 2 more stations, one on the west end and one south of King Avenue West, 2 new fire engines and 1 command vehicle. The Billings Fire Department has experienced a 51% increase in calls for service since 2012. The evaluation shows the fire department's first unit response times were double the regional standard, and first alarm assignment times were also down.
We were nearly twice the response time for that as well, which showed us or said to us that this is a significant concern and we need to start down the path of responsible planning so that we can at least begin trying to address our current needs that have been identified as well as our future needs.
Based on the presentation, the cost of adding 2 new stations, 2 new fire engines, and 1 command vehicle would cost roughly $5 million. A Billings native has struck gold on television. Now living in Deer Lodge, Jason Sanchez is part of the crew featured on the Discovery Channel's new series, Gold Rush: Dave Turin's Lost Mine. It premieres this Friday. Sanchez was asked to join Turin's team, who played a part in previous installments of the Gold Rush series.
As he went around on his journey, he kind of collected a crew of misfits, I guess you could say. He found guys that with good hearts and that wanted to work and weren't scared of work.
It's not easy. And so it takes a pretty unique person to go chase a dream like this. And that's what I think people of Montana is going to enjoy, is some guys taking a risk, taking a chance.
The show premieres this Friday evening on the Discovery Channel at 10 o'clock.